Alright guys, HyDra again today. Hope you're doing good and enjoying your day so far. More drama from the pro players going into the upcoming weekend of CDL matches. Rumour has it the GA drama behind the scenes is continuing. Looney, the coach of the Rocket, comes out and says these pros are brain dead for the decisions they are making. Scrappy getting into some drama on stream as well with his return onto Twitch over the last couple of days since their very near miss in the grand finals at Major 1 Madrid. Very much interested in your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Plenty to get into. Hicksy's actually gone back to Toronto. I thought was pretty interesting just because, of course, dropped by Surge, doesn't have to play out of Vancouver anymore. I think Vancouver are an interesting team going forward. We're pretty sure they're bringing Neptune in. That is, well, not confirmed as of recording. It may be by the time this video goes live. But, Neptune in alongside 04, Abuzah, and, of course, Nastie still on the team. But they're still playing out of Vancouver. And I think for that team, what was interesting is that they played all their online games from Vancouver. And they played all right. I mean, they weren't great, but they went 4-3 in the online qualifiers, Surge. So they went to LAN with some expectations that, well, no more internet cheese. We're going to be really good. And then they got slammed, right? Like, they got slammed by Toronto round 1, and then they bombed out of the tournament as well in the losers bracket. So it wasn't pretty, and Hicksy was then dropped. But equally, they were expecting and expected to be better on LAN, and they weren't. So is that going to change? Are they going to go back to Vancouver and do well again, or are they going to struggle? Because definitely online, it's not exactly an ideal setup theoretically over there. I was kind of getting cooked for this take last night. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but this is on the Dope Check show, and this tweet got like loads of likes, so I imagine some people do agree with me, but all the comments were basically saying that I'm completely faded. So, horrible take, horrible take. So I don't know what you guys think about this. I wasn't exactly trying to compare Pred's situation and Dashy's situation. The point that I was making is that when Dashy was removed from OpTic, I think there was a realization from Dashy as to like, okay, if I don't make this work this time, if I don't lock in, if I don't, be the teammate that my teammates want me to be, because, we know that Dashy has had issues with that in the past, and that's been some of the cause of some of the friction between Dashy and his teammates, like his approach in various ways. And I think Dashy recognised, certainly after Scump retired, that it was a big deal that he really give it his absolute all, because there's no better opportunity in the competitive Call of Duty world than playing COD for OpTic. And Dashy, at the end of the day, when you achieve success with an organisation, some of it becomes like normal, if you see what I'm saying. And I think Dashy had to realise at some point that, the complacency or whatever was happening had to end. And I'm not saying exactly the same thing happened with Pred, but I think there is an argument that, Pred won the World Championship with the team, felt like it was, always going to be like this, and kind of whatever happens, you kind of get used to the success on some level. And then whatever happens, happens. He's off the team. My feeling is that in the same way that Dashy kind of, really kicked on after his, removal and the drama there and Scump's retirement and him calling out Dashy in his retirement speech and Dashy coming back in and leveling up, there's a possibility Pred can do the same. Now, look, can Pred play at a higher level in terms of ability than last year? Not necessarily, but in terms of, mentality and mindset and committing to the team and these other things, and just making sure that whatever out-of-game stuff was affecting the team that caused him to be dropped in December doesn't affect the team again. I think there might be a similar motivation here for Pred coming back in as well, because, when something like this happens and you recognise that your dream has been taken away from you, in the same way as Dashy and other players as well, I think it's, an important step for him. Maybe I'm faded, I guess we'll see. The other clip that I wanted to share for you guys, though, as we're talking about Braindead pros, is this from Scrappy. This is a hilarious clip. So he was back on stream last night on Hacienda, and there was, well, basically he was talking about some issues with his game with Dashy as well. And some guy in the chat talks about GPU bottlenecking. So if you guys aren't aware, well, Scrappy clearly wasn't, of bottleneck as a term. And bottleneck is, it's not just a PC term, it's used in various regards, but imagine like a neck of a bottle and you're trying to force something through the neck of a bottle. It's, obviously going to be limited in terms of the rate of flow. And the same idea applies certainly in computing, where maybe the GPU or the CPU is proving to be the limiting factor, and it's bottlenecking the flow because, you know, there's a restriction on the amount of production that can happen, and therefore that's the bottleneck. I mean, it's not, you know, this is a known thing. So anyway, Scrappy obviously hadn't heard of this terminology, and this clip was particularly hilarious, right? And unfortunately for Scrap, he is living in a bit of, you know, PTSD of the neck jokes, because as soon as he hears this one about the bottleneck and talking about the GPU bottleneck, he thinks the guy in chat's roasting him. So he then roasts him back, and this just sums it up, does it not?
60 to 65 is insanely bad. Well, I've literally been playing on 80 GPU for probably like 3 years.
Nice try.
Wait, where did he come
Bro, I'm on the game, actually. Hold up. Can I just put it on? Can I just see it?
Bro, that's fucking insane, bro.
Interface.
Interface was dirty. Yeah.
Depends on the GPU. Bottleneck, bro. Ashram. I don't know who you're calling bottleneck. You're probably a fat ass, bro.
Wait, grab the GPU temperature?
You're probably a fat fuck.
Wait, my shit's at 50 degrees, but I'm not in a game. Does that matter?
Exactly. This guy's been playing 8s. That 100% matters.
So if I load up a game from 49 degrees
Yeah, but he's probably
Celsius,
been playing for a minute.
Come on, Cart. Do you guys want
my
me to
shit's
use
been
the
on the whole
cart,
night, bro.
And you guys kind of like just
Yeah.
Hey,
You can just shoulder mid and courage, and I'm gonna fucking...
GPUs can go to like 90 degrees. When Racine takes pride in knowing PCs.
Bottleneck is a PC term, bro. My bad, bro. My bad, bro. I didn't mean to call you a fat ass, bro. My bad. I never heard of that. I never heard of bottleneck. I thought you were roasting me, bro. So like, I just need to get my like dagger back.
I'm not saying it can be. Oh,
but Scrap was also talking, we're talking back in January now, a couple of weeks ago, about the gentleman's agreement chat and the decisions that were being made then. This was the first we heard on the 22nd of January that the Jackal might be tested without any attachments on, or certainly without a barrel. Now, that didn't happen going into the major. They played the major, but after the major, big AR has seemingly stepped into place. So this is what Dashy was discussing. Many of the AR players in agreement that the SMG is too strong. We've talked about it at length over the last few days, whether the SMG should be as strong as it is, whether it's about time that we have a good SMG. Do I think the Jackal is too strong, given it's an SMG, given where I think SMGs should be in terms of like where they should be the best? Yes, but it's just how COD's been, and it's not the first time we've had a good SMG. You know, it's similar to the AK-74U from back in Cold War, which was an absolute god gun. So, you know, maybe it's fine, right? 3 SMGs on the map, have an actual proper flex player in play. The ARs have to struggle again a little bit compared to some of the recent years where the AR has been significantly the best gun, but to be fair, the SMGs always won the MVPs anyway. But Pred wasn't very happy about it. On the 7th, he said, this Jackal GA is horrendous, AR world like always. We saw this from Real and 04 as well, saying that they're not happy about it. They're taking a stand against the GA. Nastie says, no, you're not, I'm the rep nowadays. So it seems to be a complete mess, to be honest. What annoys me the most, or that I find the most funny, is that the pros, at least 50% of the time, have no idea what they're actually doing. And it may be more than that. It may be, the pros will say it's less than that. You know, a lot of the fans will say it's more than 50%. But you guys will remember, this is the 22nd of November when the Sorg was in the game. And it was like, wow, the Sorg, exciting. You know, the Black Ops 4 gun coming back in. And sure, it was kind of like a DLC gun that was added a little bit afterwards. But the season hadn't even started yet. So there's no reason why they couldn't have used the Sorg. However, the pros were saying, oh no, the Sorg is way too good. You know, Envoy even said, when we're getting slammed by a team using the Sorg, and we also use it against teams that use the Jackal, and it's too good, it's got to go. You know, you actually look at the meta today. Is the Sorg too strong? Like, if you ran the Sorg, would there be 8 of them on the map? Like, don't make me laugh, you know what I mean? But the pros banned it because they thought it was too good. Whereas clearly it wasn't, and it's still not today. So, yeah, whatever. And they're not going to bring it back, apparently. And even if they did, would it be meta? No. But that's the annoying thing to me, is that the Jackal is getting nerfed with potentially GAs in play. Maybe there are some hills where the Sorg could be viable, but the pros aren't going to want to do it for various reasons because they GA'd the gun, such as the fact that they GA'd the Model L after using it in public matches and, you know, 8s for a couple of days and thinking it was too good. And the reality is, sure, the Model L was good, but would it be unbalanced compared to the Jackal? If we brought the Model L back, would there be 4 on the map on each team Absolutely not. So this is where we fast forward to yesterday with Looney saying pros are brain dead, just straight up, very simple, and thought this was pretty funny, right? Because he's the coach of the Minnesota Rocker. And it's difficult to say which side he's arguing on here. It's certainly AR versus SMG. We know that many of the SMGs are not very happy about the, the gentleman's agreements that's come into effect, banning the reinforced barrel on the sub and discussing whether that should be allowed or not, how strong the SMG should be, how weak the SMG should be. I think anytime you're getting into like banning attachments, it's always just an absolute mess. And, whether the pros ever make good decision on this, I'm never really sure. But still, what do you expect Looney's perspective to be? I think that's the question for me, right? Because some teams are AR dominated, some teams are more SMG dominated. To be fair, for Rocker, they've been, for the first time in a while, a little bit more on the SMG side, really. I mean, they've got Estriel and Nero, probably their best players. So I would predict that Rocker are maybe in favour of having the SMG being a bit stronger, but, maybe you guys disagree. It actually, to be fair, it goes both ways, right? Because either your SMGs are better, but are they only their better players because the SMG is good? Or would the argument from Rocker be, well, we're keeping Porlex, he's been struggling, let's make the SMG weaker and the AR better so Paul can play better. I really don't know which way you'll read this, but I'm sure that Rocker have their opinions that is difficult to interpret. What actually is happening, we don't really know. Obviously, Octane in the reply says, I smell the jackal, as in, the jackal's either back or it's gone, or there's some sort of controversy with regard to it. The rumour that I did see floating around was this, that apparently the voting is going to be happening today, when effectively to decide whether recoil springs on the jackal are going to be allowed or not. So, I mean, here we go again, right? We're down to the finer details of this, when they're not going to GA a gun, but they're going to go down to the details on exactly the attachments that are going to be allowed or not allowed. Who's going to vote in favour? Who's going to vote against? What are the numbers going to be like? Are they going to vote anonymously? I know that's been another big talking point, that, what ends up happening is the teams just chuck their votes in the chat, and teams maybe see that the first 3 or 4 votes go a certain way, and they decide, oh, well, I guess it's George, we might as well vote for it and all this. If the votes are anonymous, would solve that kind of issue. But, obviously an absolute mess. What's actually happening here? Intrigued to your thoughts as ever in the comments section below. Just one final thing for you guys. These are currently the overall CDL standings. FaZe, as is no real surprise, have ascended back to the top of the standings, and there, more than likely, they will stay. They're at 170 CDL points. Of course, they won the minor. That put some good points on the board towards the World Championship. They won the Major. That put some great points on the board towards the World Championship. More points this year for, winning the Majors than there was previously. So FaZe are at 170, Thieves at 125, Ravens are at 115, Ultra at 90, OpTic at 85. Pretty similar to what you'd say the current power rankings may be, to be fair. Falcons at 0. When they're going to get a point on the board, I guess we'll see. OpTic at 85, right, because they ended up top 8 at the big tournament, and they also got a couple of points from the minor as well, coming top 4. I think they probably got 10 points on the board for that. Miami with their top 3 move up to 6th. So, yeah, as it stands, your 4 teams not making the World Championship are Surge, Cloud9, Gentlemates, and Falcons. I think, there's no doubt the Falcons ain't making it. But already, let's say you're a team like Miami, a team that on paper should be in the mix of whether they make it or not. They're nicely sitting at 80 points. Like, that's a 40-point buffer over Surge. And 40 points can disappear quite quickly. But Ravens, they have a 75-point buffer over the drop spot. If Ravens were to fall off, that 115 points is still a mega result for them. So, looking at the season, I know it's only Major 1, but already you can see that the tail of the tape here is looking pretty ugly for some of these teams that will absolutely expect to qualify for the World Championship. So I think this season is honestly more fascinating than ever. Very much interested to your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.